I'm typically, that's a private agreement, we don't enforce private agreements.
Well, I want that to work.
I know you do. I hope it does. I think it can. I think the format's gonna be strong.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I haven't talked to you. I meant to call you.
Hey, Joe. Hey. Are you good? Good, how are you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I haven't had Petra. I'm sorry. I've just been crazy today. I haven't had a chance to take her retreat in a minute.
I just told him that you got him.
Yeah.
It just wasn't at the
Oh.
house and that, so you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hi, Alex. It's kind of warm.
I'm watching so they can do that more. So that's a good idea. Somebody making a presentation doesn't get.
It's very hot in here.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, well, the heater's on. This thing.
But it's hard to also be cold in the morning.
Okay.
Okay. It's cooling.
Thank you. It's a lot hotter here.
I'm ready when he's ready.
Ready? Okay, we're all set. I'd like to call our town council meeting of March the 1st to order. Could we have a pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please.
Mayor Lavarilla,
Here.
Ms. Prickett,
Here.
Ms. Conley,
Here.
Mr. Moffett,
Here.
Dr. Parker,
I'm here.
Ms. Tillerson,
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Under tab 4, item 4, tabs 1, 2, and 3, we have 3 sets of minutes, January the 11th, the 13th, and February the 1st. Let's take them one at a time. January 11th, could I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, any suggestions, changes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Tab 2, January 13th, motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Any discussion, comments?
No, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
And lastly, the meeting via Zoom, February the 1st. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mayor's update. There are 2 things, well, there's a number of things to talk about. I think one, and probably most importantly, especially tomorrow being Ash Wednesday, is to say a prayer for those poor people in Ukraine. It is just absolutely heartbreaking to get up in the morning and to listen. Some of us recall, for different reasons, some served in Vietnam and others that didn't serve remember Vietnam so vividly. But just to wake up in the morning and to see signs of war is just a tragedy, And here we are in 2014 or 2022. So our prayers are with them. 2 items to talk about. One, On February 22nd, we had a public meeting. It was the third of 3 meetings that we had outlined back in January the 11th, February the 8th, and February 22nd. And the subject matter are revisions to the ordinance and to planning development statutory documents that we have in the town's records. So this was a public meeting in the sense that the town was encouraged to speak, and they did. It was well attended. I thought it was very positive. The documents themselves have expanded greatly, so there's many more pieces of paper, there's many more paragraphs, there's many more words that are part of the discussion. We had an opportunity for Stephanie and Joe to discuss some of the thinking behind what was prepared, an opportunity for the community to describe thinking relative to, what their concerns, expressions of interest were. And a couple hours later, we concluded. Obviously, nothing is on the agenda today, nor will it be until, again, as I've said before, until we're ready to proceed. So for the month of March, it is really with Stephanie and Joe and community members to continue to meet and discuss. I don't want to say wordsmithing to minimize it. It's all important, but we're talking about words. We're talking about principles and philosophies and the like, but it's words. There's no material project before us. It's a matter of getting the sentences and the paragraphs and the intent behind all of these the way the councils in the future will be addressing issues relative to planning and ordinance. So we're encouraged that over the next month that will take place. And I will hear from Stephanie and Joe whether or not we need additional meetings, or whether at the April meeting is April 1st or 5th, April 5th, whether we'll have a draft of a first reading. So, at this point, that's pretty much where that is at. Secondly, last week I had an opportunity to talk with Jack Pringle. Mr. Pringle, again, is the attorney representing the town relative to the intervention on the utility proposed rate increase. He's well into the process right now, and as he and I talked, we went over what will amount to effectively a deposition. Well, it's really, they're not called a deposition. Testimony from myself. So we went over the document, Jack and I, and he submitted it, and there will be a public hearing on that yet to this month
And I'll get the
in
time.
March. And when we get that, we will certainly get that out to all the members of the community. They may wish to attend, and you may wish to participate in the testimony. So that is well underway. And those were the two things I had.
Okay.
Citizen comments. Anything on the agenda that anybody, did you get anything?
No, I didn't
Yes,
receive
sir.
anything.
Good afternoon, Alex Fernandez, 418 Snow Egret. I'd like to talk to the council with reference to your item, I can't see it, C on new business, with reference to the intersection of, we know by the first gate, Beach Walker, and the Parkway. I have 3 respectful requests from the council. One, we know the amount of traffic on the Parkway. Yesterday, coming into the island around 5 o'clock, some contractor was moving 3 pieces of heavy equipment on the Parkway, which obviously moves at 5-10 miles an hour. And there was a very, very long line of contractors, traffic that wanted to exit the island. I think we need to coordinate with our contractors that at 5 o'clock, it's not the time to move that type of equipment on the Parkway. They weren't moving it with a flat bat truck. I mean, they were just easy down the parkway. Obviously, nobody can pass those heavy equipment. So I think it made it very, very late, very difficult for contractor or anybody exiting the island. So I would ask that you communicate with contractors when they come in for a permit that moving heavy equipment around 5 o'clock is not the time to do so, okay? The second request that I have from you, you all know the traffic issue that we have at the front gate, and maybe some people don't know, but there's over 200,000 cars that go through the gate every month.
Yep.
Over 200,000 every month. That's just a lot of vehicles. We know what's been happening lately because the traffic has been increasing. I know that you plan to take some action and it's on your agenda, but I think we have an issue today, now. I think you need to put an emergency task force to tackle this issue of how to be able to control that traffic on the way in or on the way out. From a Kika perspective, I can tell you there's too much discussion of we can't control traffic, that's a town duty, or we're not allowed to do so. We can't send one of our security people to be able to signal cars pass. So we need to coordinate that better. And I think this is an emergency issue. This is not a thing of tomorrow. It's something that you need to deal with it today, because it's not going to get better. The summer, you're going to see it, worse. So we've seen some issues in the last couple of weeks or in the last week that has just been very, very difficult for residents and contractors. So I would ask that you put a committee together to deal with it now instead of postponing this issue any further. And the third thing is with reference to the bidding that you have today. I would ask that you put a clause in there to put it on a fast track. This is not something that should have a long-term horizon. This should not be putting up the town sign or the lighting, the time horizon we had with that. This is something that we need to deal with it quickly. So whatever the contract has, it has to have an issue. It has to have a time horizon that is as quick as possible, because this is an issue that is going to get worse, and it's really affecting all of us. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, John, are you going to? Just as a prelude even to John's comments, and we've not met, so. We talked about this briefly at the Ways and Means Committee. This issue, the community's broad concerns, and Alex articulated them very well, relative to traffic and flow and delays, etc. It's critical, important, and we initiated this study, I'm not sure exactly when, July, August, but quite a while ago. So let's all pay careful attention to the results of this study that is broad and it's comprehensive in its nature. The item on the agenda, again, is very specific, which was also part of the study, which was also part of the engaging a lot of the community meetings, discussions, whatever, and that's the result of that. So we need and we will communicate to everybody the results of all of this, but these things are well underway. Expediting it, certainly agree, and trying to deal with some issues as they come up, certainly agree. But anyway, this is the results of some thoughtful planning, hopefully, that we'll be able to address some. John?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We have been partnered with Kimley Horn for some time now, and a various amount of different projects regarding traffic or safety. The particular Kiwa Island Corridor project is a study that we've requested Kimley Horn to conduct to comprehensively look at our entire parkway. And this includes segments all the way from the gate to the roundabout, as well as segments of Betsy Carrison Parkway and Seabrook Island Road. And the purpose of this study is to kind of give the town an idea of all the development that's happening in the area, our future growth projections included. Are there anything from a traffic safety standpoint, infrastructure improvement wise, that we should be able to have a better understanding of as these projects come online? And so in the future, we can benchmark some dates, some times to understand that these are significant infrastructure improvements that might need to be made to the Kiwa Island Parkway. And so Dylan Turner will present those findings from the study, and I'll let him walk through that.
I'm just going to give the clicker a test real quick. Hopefully we're good. And my laser, let's see if it works up there. Okay. All right. Mayor, Council, thank you for having me again. So here today to talk about the Kiwa Island Corridor Study that the town had commissioned for us. So our study approach is we met with the town. We wanted to understand what the goals of the study were, and that's how we came up with, okay, we've got some stuff that's moving dirt either now or really quick, and then there's some long-term plans out here. So then we went out to the field, we collected traffic counts, daily traffic counts and peak hour traffic counts. And I did a field visit, walked everywhere through here, picked a great fall day to do it, so it wasn't too hot, so it was good. But yeah, went out and made our observations. We went back to the desk, took the counts and did our peak hour analysis, evaluated the alternatives, discussed some of the volumes that we saw with the town, went back, made some modifications to some of the land planning that we did, because we used the town's planners' ideas and thoughts about what could go out here versus like generic throwing something at the wall and see what sticks. We got some real plans, real densities that could go out there. And so now we're in the process of number 4. We're reviewing these recommendations with you all. And once we get some buy-in of these recommendations, we're going to compile it into a finalized report, which then will be sent into planning, and they'll have that for future use and to refer back to in the future. So study area, it's pretty broad study area. Started off at Camp Care, which is just outside of the town limits, but we wanted to put kind of benchmarks on areas that were just outside of the town. Went down to Resurrection Road, right across the way here to Andale Bluff, studied the town hall entrance, the roundabout at Freshfields, went just to the west to Andale Bluff Road at Bohicket Marina, and then hit the intersections down the Parkway to the gate. So the Freshfields Drive, Old Cedar, and I will add that's not in this, we did in the future analyze the proposed Andale West access on the Parkway as well. These are just the existing intersections. Mingo Point, Little Rabbit, the real estate circle, and then Beachwalker Drive, which we've done some pretty extensive studies along Beachwalker in the past. So more about the data collection of what we did. So we put tube counts out on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Our goal was to understand kind of the worst case. And what we saw was that the Thursday counts were the highest. So you get a lot of weekend traffic out here for sure with beachgoers and stuff, but really that Thursday showed us that the contractors and everybody coming out here in the morning and doing that's kind of driving the highest traffic volume. We then met with the town to understand what's going on out here in the short term, and then made some assumptions for some land use in the long term, and then use this data to put into what we call Synchro. It's our traffic analysis program to see levels of service, grading of the road, and all that information. So short term.
In every case, I'm sorry, I could just go back.
Yeah.
But in every case, your bullet 3 and 4, you, even for vacant property, you used existing entitlements.
We used not existing entitlements. We used, I guess, what could be existing land use and assumptions of like, so we used kind of Freshfields as a benchmark to what the future behind Andale West could be. We looked at some of those units, what that mix could be, because we wanted to be a little bit more conservative versus assuming it's all single family, because retail can drive more trips than just single family, or office could drive more trips than single family. So we didn't want to just assume that everything was a house, which I think that it's R4 now out there. Is that right, John? Do you know? Yeah, I think it's R4 out there. So we wanted to make sure that we used that. those type of assumptions of what's being built now, and kind of comparing that to what could be in the future.
It could be in the sense that it's approved for today,
Yeah.
so that, and then could be, I presume, is like worst case. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So we went and kind of took it a step above that, knowing that there could be some retail if it was
Okay.
rezoned, kind of like Andale West is, however that's going, getting rezoned, kind of mixed up. That could happen with some of the other vacant parcels.
So in the case of Beach Walker, what it could be.
Beach
Right.
Walker, yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, and so here's some of the short-term developments. Start with number one, sorry, wrong screen, which we have the Andale West development. Number two is the Kiwa Hotel off of Beach Walker. Number three, Bohicket expansion, which you might be able to see the crane out there. It's doing their thing now. 4, senior living, which that land's cleared right now. Number 5 is Timbers and what's going on in Beach Walker. So really parcel 13. I have it in there as Timbers, but it's all of parcel 13. Did I hit that again? Oh, so I mixed that up. Number 3 is the MUSC building, the medical office building. Number 6 is Bohicket. Sorry for mixing that up. And then 7 is the Resurrection Health, just north of where we are now. And using kind of the stuff that we found on, yes.
Number 2, you said Kiwa Hotel, Beach Walk. You meant off of Kiwa Beach?
It's Kiwa Beach, yeah.
Okay.
Did I say Beach Walker? Yeah, I meant Kiwa Beach. And then our long-term developments is looking at these vacant land masses that were around that are potentially developable. So we have Lot A, which is north of here, just north of Resurrection. And we just made some general land use assumptions of what could be there based off of some existing zoning and what we've seen kind of being developed. So 14,000 square feet of retail, 3,000 restaurant, 24 single family, 48 multifamily. A mix of the zoning there. Lot B, 40,000 square feet retail, 68 single family, 240 multifamily. And I will say that these are on the conservative side, but this is what was allowable by the R4 zoning as well, as far as the number of dwelling units that could be there. Lot C, 50,000 square feet of retail, 10,000 square feet of restaurant, and 308 single family, which is within that R4 zoning. And we looked at the total acreage here, and then we took off some of that for parking, wetlands, and other protected areas. So we didn't say that every square inch of that acreage is a building or anything. We did take into account some of that. Okay, I know this is a wordy slide, but I do want to just kind of hit the keynotes here. Kiwa Island Parkway at Betsy Carson Roundabout fails in 2036 with what the assumptions that we made. And whenever I get to the roundabout, I'll show you where the big issue lied with why it failed. And so that's what we're recommending considering. We'll just have to monitor this with development because this is a long-term. This is not short-term. Short-term, it operates well with the developments that are going on around the area. Still operates level service B and C in the short term, which is a great level of service for Roundabout. Camp Care at the future Lot A, if we just built it and didn't add turn lanes, it fails. So we're recommending turn lanes into that. And that, just to remind, is the one just to north here off of Resurrection Road. Old Cedar Lane, so it's Cacique. It fails during the long term. And so we want to put some turn lanes. Right now, there's no exiting turn lanes, so some turn lanes on Old Cedar. The free flow, this is the concept at Beach Walker that is being presented later today. So without this improvement, it fails in the short term and the long term. And then if we looked at the long term, which is 2036, it improves to level service C, which is a significant improvement versus the failing grade that it was. So this improved traffic flow and this improvement does result in the real estate office becoming a right-in, right-out. So if you see that RI/RO, that's a right-in, right-out access. So you would not allow lefts out of the real estate office onto the parkway.
Right, correct.
And then, so future Andale West property should be signalized on the parkway. A roundabout operates well short-term, so we look at 2026 with what was proposed previously at Andale West, that front part of the property at the parkway. the roundabout operates well, but then as we looked into the future, it failed, the roundabout failed, the single lane roundabout, so then we want to do a traffic signal there in the long term. The signal will allow for gaps for the side street movements where the roundabout, the through movement on the parkway, and conflicting turns, there wasn't a lot of gaps, so we saw failing levels of service and queues. If possible, I know that maybe the town, I don't know if it has control over this, but if the Andale West property can interconnect to Freshfields through parking, roads, it was important to do that because that just increases the connectivity within the development and it doesn't isolate the two. If you isolate the two, you could be creating yourself a traffic issue. Whereas if you're able to force that or get the developers to agree to that, that would be strongly recommended and very beneficial to all access points along the parkway and even on Seabrook as well. With this interconnect, and if we signalize the Andale West property on the parkway, the existing Freshfields access, which is not the one in the roundabout, but the one if you go towards the gate, is recommended to become a right in, right out. So you'd be able to come in, say if you're coming from Johns Island, turn right in, right out, you would no longer be able to take a left because we want people to go now to either the traffic signal, the roundabout, or over to Seabrook to make their movements out.
Could you define fail?
Level service F. So it's about a delay of, I'd have to think, it's 55 seconds, give or take, per vehicle. That's how long it's taking you to make your maneuver. So, so it's about a minute for you to sit and then make that maneuver of delay.
Per car.
Per car.
Can you educate me on a signal will allow for gaps for the side street movements? What is it? What
Of course, it's forcing it. So whereas the roundabout does help with some gaps, but the through volume on the parkway would be enough. So in what we project in 2036, that there's actually going to be so much through traffic on the parkway that you're not able to kind of find your gap to squeeze into the roundabout to make your circulation. Whereas a signal stops that, right, the red light, and so then the side streets now have a green light to turn. So it's forcing that gap. I think this is already planned. Number 7, the Bohicket Marina access on Seabrook Island Road. I know that's outside of the town limits, but a roundabout would serve that access well. And we, like I said, we looked at roundabouts at the Andale West property, but it just fails with that long-term need there. All right, so this is what it's called, a turbo roundabout. So what we found in the 2036 long-term condition was, I'm going to use Johns Island as a reference, but if you're coming from Johns Island and going towards the gate, to the Kiwa gate, and if you're exiting Seabrook to go back towards Johns Island, that conflict point here is what was the big issue. So that's where we started seeing all the Fs and the queuing, was the gaps that we were talking about with the traffic signal before. There were no gaps. So this is what is basically called, it is called a turbo roundabout. It's on the newer side of concept, and you're able to use that existing footprint in the middle, so you're not having to do too much. You are going to have to widen towards Freshfields for this concept level. But what this does is allow for a left turn lane in a roundabout. So the left turns could then get into this circulation lane to then go back up towards Johns Island. So they'd come in here, get into this lane, and go out. It just reduces their conflict time through the rest of the roundabout. And what we saw was the roundabout went from a level service F, so into that, I think it was almost into the 90 to 100 second per vehicle failing level in the long-term 2036, to then level service C, where you're looking at 20 seconds, 25 seconds per vehicle. So a significant improvement with this layout. And it's just reducing the number of conflicts and lack thereof gaps, or lack of gaps for those movements to occur. Because usually a left turn lane doesn't really work within a roundabout, like a standard roundabout. Like if you went and striped a left turn lane out there now, it wouldn't really work because the weaving that would go through, this kind of forces that to occur, that circulating lane.
How much of that grassy median would you lose by putting in this additional lane?
That, I mean, I don't have the exact amount for you. You would lose some, but you still get to keep kind of that feel as you're coming into that roundabout, because that's the whole kind of feel as you're getting into Kiwa and Seabrook, is that natural feeling. So this isn't an option that takes that out or scratches it. You're able to keep a good majority of it. I don't know how many, square feet or linear feet that would be taken from this. We could kind of measure it from the concept, but still not like this is what it would be. And it would take some widening into to Freshfields. So we would take some of the widening towards Freshfields here, and take some of the greenery from the roundabout there. So it'd be kind of an asymmetric widening.
So you'd probably lose maybe half a lane worth of ground on that bottom part of it.
I don't know the answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but maybe, yeah. It all depends on design and what's out there. But from a conceptual level, that's a good assumption. But whenever you get into design, things could change there.
Are these in a particular prioritization? Is this the worst case and the most?
So this.
I mean, this concept. I mean, the fact that it's one.
Right.
Is
this once again, this is long term. This is 2036. So this is not priority. Priority is Beachwalker. That's where I would say the priority is. That's the failing level service now, and so we've talked through and gone through that.
Okay.
This is long term, and this is assuming that the development plan we have for long term is what occurs too. If it's to a less extent, this may not be needed.
Okay.
So what we do with these plans is we plan, come up with an idea, we look at it, but then as each development comes along, you keep doing traffic studies, and make sure you're looking at the roundabout with these traffic studies to see how that roundabout's operating.
Would you mind once again just do the left turn coming out of?
Yeah. So what we saw, right, is so we had the left turn coming from Johns Island to go towards the gate, the left turn leaving Seabrook to go towards Johns Island. So you had a conflict point here with throughs, lefts, and you also had, this was one lane, right? So you had left throughs and rights.
Right.
So we're actually removing conflict volume of the through and right away from the lefts. So here at this point, you've reduced volume conflicts through the through and right by allowing that left to come in and circulate.
Okay, I got you.
So it's just
So
reducing
the
the
left
total
comes in
number.
and goes around to
It
the
goes
right.
around to the left.
Yes,
Creates a left.
so that
So
left
you're
would
turning
come
right, you're
into
going left
to
to go
here,
out.
and if you're coming from Freshfields, you'd be able to enter into that area as well to go up towards.
And that little yellow line is a little yellow.
It's like a
bump.
median. It would be like a little median through there. Yeah.
This is like every rotary you see in England.
Yep.
Yes.
These are they're hot on the streets in Georgia right now. There's a lot of these going on in Georgia.
Yeah, okay.
I have a,
Yes.
if I may, just, because I'm trying to go from, right now, coming from Seabrook, of course, you're turning right, but you're going left out. But right now, that's just one lane.
Right.
So is this within the right of way? Because of course, to make this work, it's not on our road, so we would have
Right.
to work with,
There would be-
with Town of Seabrook to do this improvement, because we would be either, I'm guessing if it's their right of way or Freshfield's right of way, they or we would have to acquire additional right of way and work with the Town of Seabrook.
Yeah, there'd be a section that you're coordinating with Seabrook. There's a section that you're coordinating with Freshfields.
Right.
And then there's some that's in your right of way as well. This would be a big project undertaking. This isn't a small, easy fix. This is a bigger project.
I think in
It's
the
a
morning,
long-term-
Yes.
the
long-term.
Seabrook people line up every morning because they can't get into the circle. They'd be delighted to give up.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they would. I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that while we're
It's not
showing
us.
that part of it, our right of way doesn't extend that far. I think our right of way right now on the roundabout may be the island, right behind the island or something like that. We don't go that far down, so we would have to work with the Town of Seabrook, or acquire it or do whatever.
I think there's like 3 of these concepts in which we don't have jurisdictional authority over. So
There's definitely one at Bohicket that
Yeah.
you may have it. I don't know where Lot C. I'll go over that if that's in the town or if that's in the county now, could come into the town later, or if it's in
It's in the
Seabrook.
unincorporated area.
So that's another long term, but I think they're
But it
actually
would still
working.
impact traffic regardless if
Yeah.
it's developed in the county or in the
Yeah.
town, it still would impact
Yeah,
traffic.
exactly. And I do want to point out that the bypass lane, so coming from Johns Island towards Seabrook and leaving
They're-
Kiwa
they're
towards
still
Johns
there.
Island, those stay.
Yeah.
Those stay.
Right.
Okay, this is the future lot A. So this is the, if I go, I'm just going to go back here. So this would be A. So if we're at Town Hall here, it's just to the north of us. And it's assuming that they have one access point across from Camp Care Road. So I think this is the restaurant and maybe, is it a coffee bar or wine bar next to it?
Yeah.
Coffee.
Both.
So turn lanes in
Both.
off the parkway, which you'll need. And if I would encourage y'all, if you see projects that are coming in off the parkway, the speed limit is such that turn lanes into each development on this section of Betsy Carrison, I said the parkway, but Betsy Carrison, try to talk to people, even if it's out of your jurisdiction, to get turn lanes in. Most of them do. So most of them do, but that speed's so high that you're going to want those decel lanes. And that's what we're showing here, is decel lanes into that future development when and if it occurs off the parkway, and we show that stop control, it operates acceptably, and acceptably for stop control with this is A through E, and even some Fs on these type of side streets are acceptable because you're expected to kind of be there for a while to make your left turns, but you don't want it to be too long, but that's not what we saw here. Okay, this is one that we should be familiar with. This is the concept of Beach Walker Kiwa Island Parkway. We do have the right turn lane, and when we discussed before, that's not an immediate need, but could be a long-term need, especially as there could be other development on Beach Walker and something that we would need to be looking at and considering. And then you have your free flow lane exiting, so it wouldn't be under any type of delay. So left turns from behind the gate to turn onto Beach Walker would be stop control, and you have your stop control that you're used to entering into the gate with those two lanes. This shows the right turn lane onto Beach Walker, which could be kind of a longer term need, not needed right away as what we had. And then stop control still on Beach Walker, right at the gas station there.
Where's the gate? The gate?
What's
It's
that?
right there.
And then we have the merge here. If you leave, the gate, that was a question, it's like
Yes.
right here.
Okay.
So then you have, if you're coming from Beach Walker to go back towards Town Hall, you turn left here, then you have this merge lane here. And because you have this merge lane, this is where the real estate office that has their full movement is here. Now the exit, we would want that to be just a right out only movement. That would take coordination between the real estate office and the town to give them access through here, which is all on their property. So that would be coordination that would need to occur.
Where would they turn around?
So that's what we would propose and talk with them from is they have this employee parking area here,
Yes.
off of Beach Walker.
Right.
If there's a way to punch through and interconnect and kind of reconfigure this area, they'd be able to turn around here and then turn left on Beach Walker and then turn right.
So
to
they
go
would
behind the gate.
actually exit onto Beach Walker?
They would exit onto Beach Walker, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Because now, the way that it's set up even now, it's kind of weird with the median and
It
turning
is.
left out
It's hard.
of there.
It's a difficult turn.
And the sight distance with
Uh-huh.
the trees and stuff there too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did I misunderstand you? I'm looking at concept 3 and then the proposal for today, concept 14. They're identical, aren't they?
yes.
Okay, I thought I heard you mention something about being.
Well, it's about the right turn lane. Before we discussed, I was just kind of going back to what we discussed before, was the right turn lane may or may not have been necessary. It's kind of like a little bit of an added bonus to the concept, but now that there's more potential development going on Beach Walker than whenever we even did this concept, that right turn lane's becoming more of a
Yeah.
of a
Okay.
need.
Actually,
So what's-
that lane is very important in the summer.
So yeah, with all the
It's-
the
Traffic,
tourists.
yeah.
It's,
But what's before us
heavily
today?
used.
Is this, yes, yep, that's
Right.
correct. Okay, so this is the Andale West traffic signal, and you see KIP, I just ran out of space here, so Kiwa Island Parkway is what KIP means at their top. So now you have a left turn lane into that driveway now, and a right turn decel into this area. We'd want to mimic that for the other side, getting into whatever future development could be there. And this is getting into the design perspective, but you'd have to do some clearing because through this curvature, you'd want either advanced warning or a supplemental head so that if you're coming this way down the parkway that you could see what the traffic signal indication was, because that's a sharper curve coming in. And once again, this could come from discussion with the owner of this property back here and over here to see what their intent for development is, because a roundabout could work short term. We're showing that long term that roundabout fails, it's difficult to convert a roundabout back into a traffic signal, so we want to be out on the front end of that. So we made assumptions for what's out there. If we can have those discussions, those property owners, to see if that's in line, then we might want to be leaning towards the traffic signal. I know the TIA done for the Andale West said either or, and so that's why we're looking at it, and we came up with the traffic signal because of long term. Short term, roundabout is good, but the long term, any other development that occurs behind Andale West would drive the need for the traffic signal and what occurs on this side of the property.
But your thought also is the traffic signal creates
Artificial
gaps.
I call them
Creates
artificial gaps.
gaps.
They're real gaps, but it just forces the gap there.
Joe, is all of this done, but all of this done recognizing that on both sides of the street, it's unincorporated Charleston County? So if developed in Charleston County, is all of this done just by discussion, negotiation? I mean, this is the parkway is our road, both sides of the street would be the county, so all of the, what is called Andale West and what the others, I can't read it, but.
The other side, I think, is Lot
Yeah.
E.
But I mean, it's just through discussion. There's no one,
Yes.
Right.
yes. Okay.
I mean, it seems like it would benefit everyone.
No, I understand that, but
Yeah.
Hopefully, it wouldn't be too difficult.
And so with this, one of the recommendations that I was making earlier about interconnecting what goes on here on what we're calling Andale West to interconnect their parking lots and drive aisles to this development drives what the next graphic shows, which this is now a full movement driveway. So if you're leaving Freshfields, this is the gas station, convenience store, sandwich shop just off screen here. So if you're leaving, you're able to turn left now. We're wanting to make this right in, right out, because what we find is this left has long delays. So there's that level service F of in the hundreds of seconds. And so to prevent that, we want to go right in, right out. Those lefts would be redirected to the traffic signal if it's interconnected. So if it's interconnected, they could get relocated to the traffic signal just off screen here to the Andale West, to the roundabout, or to future lot C, which I'm gonna go back here. So if you're kind of interconnecting to the development, it's depending on where you are, you could come out this way of lot C and go through that way. So we're wanting this to become, I know it's different property owners, I know it's different developers, but we're wanting this area to be cohesive and interconnected, so it feels like one. You might have different looks, but the interconnectivity is really important. And this is Old Cedar, so Cacique. What we found here at Cacique was some long delays. This would take some coordination as well. This turn lane would modify some of the signage, landscaping, and everything's there, so it would have to be either relocated, replaced, or modified there, because they've already got turn lanes off the parkway here. So no real room with critical area over here to look at roundabout because you're going to be impacting critical area just off the side here, and you're not at the volumes enough to do a signal or anything there. So turn lanes and you reduce the delay that way. And number 7, this is outside of the town, but Bohicket, I know I was told that I think they are doing a roundabout here anyway, which is great because our recommendations line up with what they had. But this is Lot C. So right now, either Seabrook or county-owned land. But if it's county-owned, if it gets turned over to the town, this may become something that you're looking at when that Lot C gets developed. So the senior living is just off screen this way, and the big roundabout would be just off screen this way. So.
What did you say? Excuse me,
Yeah.
Dylan, I missed. Who's doing the roundabout?
I think Seabrook is, town of Seabrook's doing a roundabout plan there now. There's
At
plans
Seabrook, at Seafield?
at
Bohicket
Bohicket.
Marina.
Bohicket,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah,
at the
at
marina.
Bohicket, yep. Because just off the screen here is the MUSC property that they have the signage and stuff
Right,
out. Right
okay, thank you.
there. Yep. Okay, so next steps, reviewing these results with you all now. So getting your input, getting input from Stephanie and John and her team and their team. Updating any recommendations, concepts, if there's like anything called out that we see that's like, hey, this just isn't doable, let's think of something else. We'll refine those recommendations. Then we'll provide the town with a draft report for findings, and then respond to any comments from the town, and then finalize the document, which would then end out this planning process.
Great.
So any questions, comments?
Could you go back, please?
Yes.
To what extent is there community reaction? I mean, is there any type of a public meeting, or this is really remarkable data? I mean, information. I mean, where does that fit into this, John, or do you wait till it's all done and I don't know?
Yeah, so we didn't conduct a public workshop as part of this process. It was more just a study to understand
You
the
did or
recommend.
you planned?
We did not.
You
We did
did
not. Opposed to where Beach Walker, we know that was a thing that was driving more immediate need. This is more of a long-range type plan, and so we can entertain that idea to bring the community input in this, but this is more long-range planning, and so
I understand.
working, I think, maybe behind the scenes with the large track owners would be probably the angle to engage the community on this one.
And I'll just add one thing with regards to what John said. The larger project, we did not, but within this larger project, we have the Beach Walker intersection, which was a large public participation
Absolutely.
process. So what was presented, there was some level of community participation that was in the intersection piece of this
That's
project
what
that
I
they
was
showed.
going to say, yeah.
Yeah, I think
was a very
concept
thorough-
C or concept 14, depending upon how you want to
Right.
define it, has been thoroughly vetted by the community.
It has. Were you going to talk about the Beach Walker?
I can.
The
So-
work that you've done
Yeah.
specifically for Beach Walker?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll go back to the Beach Walker concept here. All right, and is this with other proposed development, Stephanie? that you're
Yes.
referring- Okay.
Yeah.
So as we're going through this study, kind of nearing the end of these concepts, it was brought to the attention, I wish I had just a map, but just to the south of here, just to the south of the gas station on Beach Walker, that convenience store, there's a proposal for some multifamily or rental lots there, condos. I don't know if they're rental, but condos
Right, I don't know if
there.
they-
So what we looked at was the most conservative number that we had, which was 97
Based on the
units.
entitlement.
Yep, based on the times, it's 97. So what we have here is before they come online, before that development gets put into the network, Beach Walker northbound is already failing. So they come in there, and so it's already failing. It gets to be a little bit of a worse F, right? But you do this improvement, it doesn't change the level of service of what it was before. So it was a level of service C before the 97 lot gets put on with this concept we're looking at on screen. You put those 97 units onto the network, it still is a level of service C. So there's not a lot of impact to this intersection that those entitlements would have. for those 97 units.
If you made these changes.
If you made these changes. And even if you didn't make these changes, they're not moving a needle too much, right? So there's already an issue, and this is what we come across all the time.
Bad, they're not gonna get worse.
Well, it's going to get worse, but not like noticeably worse, I guess is the best way to
It's
put
going to
it.
be heavier traffic.
It'll be heavier traffic. So you'll see, you'll notice like what the delays comes out is like, so your level service up before, so you're 55 seconds, you may go to 65 or 70 seconds of delay. So you're adding 15 seconds. But like with the existing configuration of the intersection, there's not a lot that development could do to reduce that 15 seconds.
No, there isn't.
So that's whenever we're like, okay, so if we look at this project here, is it still operating well? And it does. So that makes us relax that this project that we have proposed here is a good solution with anything that occurs on Beach Walker with those entitlements, the timbers, parcel 13, the new is a clubhouse or something that's going on down there. So all of that stuff added into the network, this concept still shows that it operates.
Yeah, and remember, Timbers is not dumping off on Beach Walker.
Is
The
it
Cape
13?
is.
Is it 13 and the
Parcel 13,
I call
lot
everything
1.
down there the timbers, so I know
Parcel 13.
that's my fault.
A portion of
So,
lot 1, the
yeah.
Cape, some of Cape, but Timbers
Yeah.
is not dumping.
Yeah, I need a class on parcel 13.
It's the
I
only
call it
one.
all the timbers,
Huh?
so,
It's the only one that's not dumping off.
yeah.
Okay?
Comments,
Oh, and
questions?
the Cape's
from-
all internal, sorry.
Okay.
No, glad to see the work, and I'm glad we're looking this far out, because
Yes.
all of this stuff, if we can begin to consider it now, then it's not a shock to the system further out. And this, obviously, is a high priority right now.
Yeah, and yeah.
And yes, thank you. This
Yeah.
is great. And I think in terms of couching this, Stephanie and Chris, I mean, I think as this rolls out and becomes approved, et cetera, and the community has to understand this is what developer owns and controls. This is what they can do. I mean, that may fall on deaf ears, but that's the reality of what this is. This isn't just vacant land that, it just isn't vacant land. It's owned by somebody, and that if and when the developer so chooses, whether in the town or
So this
on
will be all-
Seabrook or in Charleston County, this is what we're going to be looking at. So, I don't know how that'll resonate with anybody, but they have to understand that's, what started in the 1970s, to what, 2040 or something like
Yeah,
that?
2036. We can call it
2030, that's
2040,
what
yeah,
we're
we can
looking at.
get around that.
Stoplights and 4-lane highways and stuff. So but that's going to be an interesting, point of preparation in terms of how to communicate all of this.
Dylan, just so that I'm sure, because we're doing a lot of talking, on Beach Walker, when you put everything into the
Model.
model, you put in all the entitlements for
Yeah.
for Upper Beach Walker, that we're
Yeah.
calling Upper Beach Walker, the remaining of parcel 13, lot 1,
The one that has the access on,
Beach Walker.
and then we included, if it didn't have the access to Beach Walker, we would include the exiting traffic of that development leaving the island. So they would be we included them in this volume.
Oh, you included the
So-
development
so that-
that's all internal,
All
that's
internal
leaving,
that
going
will
through
leave.
Kiwa Beach.
And entering, so they would enter through here, so we had their volume entering and exiting.
But if we're talking about the level of service, to
Mm-hmm.
understand just Beach Walker projects that's dumping on a Beach Walker, is your analysis still the same? That essentially goes from worse to a little bit of worse, but if we do the improvements, it will be still level C.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
And if I might ask a question or comment, it'll still be level C, and we're still going to have the problems that Alex pointed out, because we have looked at the traffic coming in at the gate. We have had deputies there. Kika has also provided help at that gate. But as I was talking earlier, there are only 5 cars that can get in by the gate. 1 is being serviced, and there's 4 behind it. So if you have a sheriff, somebody directing traffic to go, there's only 5 spots they can take up. And when it's built up, there's really no room.
That's
We don't
correct.
have enough room to get this number of cars through quickly.
And just another
Correct.
comment that I think Alex was talking about the big piece of equipment that was moving, not on the truck. That was actually the milling machine that's replacing the surface on the roads. Because I was watching that same thing, Alex, thinking, these cars are gonna back up for 10 miles, but it was the
And that was
milling
Kiwa.
machine. But that's not an everyday occurrence. It's a project-oriented thing.
And normally, sometimes, a lot of times, it is coordinated when we know that
Right.
there's big equipment, and we typically try to coordinate it, if ARB knows, or if Kika or if the
Kika
town, we
knows.
do try to coordinate that, and we do at least try to send out an e-blast to let owners know that there might be a delay,
Yep.
or we try to coordinate the time.
Yeah, and I'm
We
just
do
saying,
that.
my point is that that one's not something that's gonna be out there.
Yeah, no,
That's
we
not gonna
don't,
be out
it's
there
5
every
o'clock.
day.
Could have been done at 8 o'clock.
But
No, we wouldn't do
even if
that.
it's at 5 o'clock, it's only done once. It's not an everyday occurrence.
Right, it's not every
The one that's
day.
an everyday occurrence is the 250 construction vehicles coming in the morning and so forth.
Right.
And those still back with traffic up a long way, but, it's kind of,
This strikes me as a pain point that we can do something about, but what
Right.
we do is not gonna ever make it satisfactory to everybody, short of putting in a clover leaf, and that
And
ain't
like
We're not
Alex
gonna
said,
get
it's
a LOSA.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
Now unless it's just
200,000
through,
This is
cars.
the best
Not
bad
enough.
idea we've got.
now unless it's just a complete through in the guard, there's no gates.
200,000 cars a month. Yeah, I know. We get the Kika reports.
Yeah, that's when we're going over this project, is if that gate was able to be relocated, so
Right.
a lot of this is resolved.
I would think so.
I-
But there's
maybe-
no action.
maybe It could be that the line of cars is, instead of being at that intersection out towards the real estate office, there's a bigger collection to the gate, wherever it is, because it's still 200,000 cars.
Yeah.
So,
But it could move faster if the
Yeah,
gate was moved.
what
I
you'd
don't-
want to do is kind of, where that's studied, you'd want to do some peak hour stuff to
Right.
figure out, okay, what is that max queue? And do we have space to move that gate in by that maximum stacking amount? That's
Well,
what you would want to do. But I know
Again,
that's outside of the
not to
purview
be-
of what we're doing here.
not to be blasphemous, but somehow we have to impress, there has to be a sense of realistic expectations.
I
We want a
agree.
private community, we want a gate. We want 2 gates. You're gonna get behind the gates, and you got, God knows how many houses being built and stuff being built. You got a lot of people coming on this island between, 7 and 9. Equipment and trucks and the stuff. Go take the crosstown at 3 to 5 at night, and it's all backed up. Go to any place wherever we've been or traveled or come from. There's backups on those pivotal points. It's just, but anyway, like I said, we got to have a little sense of realistic expectations,
Right.
because that gatehouse is the gatehouse. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I doubt it. Okay. No, I said I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Anyway. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, anything else? I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.
I don't know if I have the prerogative to move the agenda around, but, because you're item C, if there's nothing more to add, we don't
can
want to
move
keep
it.
you out here on a beautiful, Tuesday afternoon.
It's all right.
Oh, okay. All
He's
right.
happy to be here.
Yeah.
He told me.
I love Kiwa.
Okay, moving on. Old business.
You want to take old business, or you want me to? It's the lease agreement with KIU.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
nothing,
think-
I'm sorry, getting back, that was just your presentation, and it was
No.
wonderful, but there's nothing for us to,
Approve it this time.
no, okay,
Okay.
okay.
No.
So we're on the
Yes,
old
sir.
business.
Old business, hey.
Land
So
lease.
this is the lease agreement with Kiwa Island Utility, for the, what is it called? The
Wet
Kestrel Port Wet Trash and Recycling Center. And it's just, There was a lot of negotiation over various issues, but I think we've satisfied KIU's concerns, which were centered largely around insurance requirements. We've gotten the policy language that they wanted, and so as far as I can tell, this is what they're willing to sign. So
Okay.
I would ask for a resolution.
So we're providing insurance to cover
We are.
issues that arise out of
We are.
this.
Just briefly, they originally requested a standard indemnity provision. As a municipality, we can't, under law, indemnify almost anyone. There are some very narrow exceptions. So in lieu, they agreed to strike the indemnity provision, but with the understanding that we would have obtained some insurance. Which we
Okay.
Okay.
I just have a quick question, and this is just for my own personal information. Under property taxes, it says tenants' pro rata share of the annual real estate taxes shall be calculated on a per acre basis, and per acre is in quotation marks. What does that mean? It's on page 2.
Number 8.
I tried going to the rectangle of knowledge, and it didn't help me with that. So I thought maybe you could.
Well,
I think it's just highlighting.
I mean, are we paying for an acre's worth of property
Oh.
taxes, or
well, yeah, we may be.
Sounds-
okay?
Yes.
You just divide by acre.
That's all I'm asking is how's that calculated?
I think, I assume that's what it is. I mean, they have a lot of area to cover
Okay.
with their tax burden. And so we are going to be helping them with that.
Which is our portion that we're
Just
leasing.
our
Right.
portion.
Yeah, that we're leasing.
Okay.
Per acre. Could I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's get this done. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Stephanie, what do you think the timeline would be on March 1st, and we've now approved the agreement? Brian's not here, I was looking for.
Okay.
What do you think?
Lord, my hope was to have this all wrapped up and completed by, before the height of the tourist season. I've gotten involved this week. We've been having some problems. We're waiting on information from Carolina Waste, who has been slow to provide the information to us. Once we get that information, then LSRP can continue forward with their work. We bid it out. As you can see, the project is not that bad, but probably it's going to probably be more into maybe June.
Okay.
Now,
All
I would
right.
say. Hopefully sooner.
Well, keep us surprised.
We'll keep you updated.
Okay, new business. Item A, Title Trails franchise agreement.
Mr. Mayor, Ways and Means yesterday made a recommendation for A and B. Would you like to go ahead and just take A and B together, or separate? Would you like another presentation from staff? This comes as a recommendation to approve by Ways and Means.
What's the group's pleasure? Could I have a motion to approve?
Right.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve A and B? We talked about both of these, as Stephanie said, at the Ways and Means.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We are at C. Anything further to add on? So this is it now. This is beach walk.
Right.
And
This comes as a recommendation as well from Ways and Means, but we'd be more than happy to do another quick presentation that John can do, or you guys can have a.
You might just comment on
Right.
what this does.
That's what I
It
was
gives us
thinking.
the details to get it bid. I think that would help people understand.
It fast tracks the process.
I think both timing and construction
So,
documents.
so this particular request is for us to be able to engage to get the design and construction documents prepared, and that will allow us to bid the project out to a contractor. I mean, that's just the simple request for this project. Right now, we have conceptual drawings, and so those conceptual drawings will be able to be designed, marrying up to what's actually out there in the field to present documents that we'll be ready to bid.
So,
Right.
all those things being equal, when would that process be finished where we send it out to bid? Sensitive to Alex's comments earlier.
Ooh, yeah,
I don't have that answer. Depends on how much survey that we have. That's one of our big lead items. So Brian, I always blank, so I butcher his last name. But,
Gotcha.
gotcha.
Yeah, I've tried to say it to him before. He'll ask it. If they have all the survey we need, it expedites. But right now, survey, if we need additional survey, has a long lag time of 2 to 3 months to get out there.
We didn't anticipate this to begin in this particular fiscal year. It would definitely be next fiscal year, as far as having the bid process start. So I can say probably be summer or later. That would be the guess.
Yeah.
Like everything
And then we'll
else.
also have to, I know it's tough, but the timeline too, because we always have traffic here, but to start the work, if it looks like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be,
Oh, yeah. No,
the bid and stuff will probably be in the fall of this year, or fiscal 23, which is this year, fall, winter, but we'll coordinate, because we'll have to coordinate all of that
Right.
with any potential work on Beach Walker and the intersection.
Are we
Well,
gonna,
So what is our lowest traffic line?
Really,
Never.
they're not.
There's gotta be
After the,
lower than this.
but
I think
from
our
the
lowest from
pandemic,
when we looked, was it, like, I know January, February, was it like, yeah, January, is it,
February.
November, October, January, February? I think December picks back up. But we have like, I think 3 months out the year when we were looking at the Kika's numbers for state aid tax, and maybe 3 or 4 months out the year where it dipped. But
Okay.
we're busy. It's a busy
are we
island.
gonna design in the right-hand turn lane coming on the island in front of the real estate office?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
part of the design.
Okay.
Well, getting to the core of our conversation, all of this is just going to be exacerbated. We have problems now. We're going to start building. We're going to start construction on a core area. I mean, we can share with people. The community. We have a long-term plan. We have a short-term plan. It's all underway. But I mean, again, the reality sets in. It's going to be tough getting on and off here.
Okay.
So, and we don't know what the developer's going to do with their project, which would just could layer another.
Okay.
So, all right.
So,
Oh,
we need a vote.
yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you get a motion? I don't think I got a motion.
Yes.
Oh,
In that
could I have a
case, I'll make
motion?
Motion.
Motion to.
We
So
adopt this.
moved.
Approve it.
So approved, second?
Mary Ann second.
Second.
Dr. Parker made a motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. One addition to the Public Safety Committee, Carl Ritchie from the Community Association.
Yes.
Yes,
I
he
can
is the,
just swapping out. Go ahead, Mrs. Townley. Go ahead.
okay. Carl Ritchie is the former chief from Mount Pleasant. He worked with our own public safety officer, Craig Harris. He has excellent experience, and he is replacing
Tony Elder.
Tony Elders on the Public Safety Committee, and we welcome him.
Very good. Motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good.
Town Administrators Report.
I don't have a lot to report, but I do want to say, and Jim Jordan sent you all email just to say his team wrapped up
Right.
the deer culling for this year. We'll get the numbers, because normally what we'd like to do is report the 200 tags. We end up culling 200 deer. But as part of our requirement, we have to donate the meat. And once I get that total, we'll send out how many pounds of meat that we donated. We give it to a processor who processes it, and then they donate it all out, like we
Does
did.
it all go ultimately to the same feeding operation?
In terms of processing,
Yeah, when he processes the food, does it go to the same place, all of it go to one place?
yeah, I don't know. They may disperse it out to various other, there's a group, I don't know if they're called Bicycles for Hunger, or different types of nonprofit that need the meat. So they donate the meat out. We don't. Once we drop it off to the processor,
That's it.
we're done. But one of the requirements is that they have to donate it out to
But
like
it's
food
very
pantries and
impressive.
different things like that. So it goes to the need in the community, which is great. And I think that was, I can't think of any, project-wise, we still have, as the mayor asked about Kessel Court, I've already answered that. The garage, for the most part, appears to be finished. I don't see Brian here, but it looks like the garage, if it hasn't been CO'd, it's gonna be CO'd soon. I know we have to order furniture and things of that nature, so if you guys have an opportunity, chance, just walk through the garage, see the new office facility for Aaron and Jim. They should be moving out there shortly if they haven't already. And then our new car wash that's got moved to the left. And then if you're facing it, the new car wash is to the left, and then you can tell where our old car wash is at is now screened in. The work here at Town Hall, our landscape project, should be kicking off, I think, next week or the following week, in terms of removing, you know, they moved out some dead stuff, but as you guys remember, you approved some improvements to the landscape, so they're going to start that work. In a week or two, I got the email from Artiques. They received the bid, so we are moving forward with that. I have nothing else unless you guys have something specific for me. I'd be more than happy to try to answer, or if I can't, I will get the answer and get back with you.
No, thank you, Stephanie.
We
No.
briefly touched upon this in Ways and Means yesterday, but last month we reported out about the senior living, the Seafields thing. Have we gotten any update from them at all?
No, unfortunately, we haven't. I think the same would be what Bruce had reported. And we talked, as you said, we talked a little bit about it in our Ways and Means meeting yesterday. We just haven't. We haven't received the plans yet to start reviewing.
Okay.
So the idea, though, is once they submit the plans, that's, I think, the reason why DeRoda included the $500,000, because if they submit the plans for us to review, we're going to require the permit fee all up front.
Okay.
And it would be $500,000. But as of right now, we haven't received that to start that
Great.
process. So I don't know the timeline on it. Sorry.
Thanks, Deb. John, anything?
The only thing I've got is a meeting 2 or 3 meetings ago, we had the first reading of the noise ordinance, and the mayor said, let's table this until we get some clarity, less ambiguity in it. And so we formed this study group, and we've been working on that. We are dangerously close to being complete. We've got one little formatting change to make on it. We've got a really good group, some very positive contributions by everybody on the group. And I think we're going to target April meeting, but realistically it's probably May to get all the last minute changes made. But I think what we're going to have is an ordinance that's very clear, very simple to follow, and I think it'll be easily approved.
Yes.
Fast words, right?
Yes, famously. So our hope is to be able to bring this next month.
Either April or at the latest May.
And thank you
It's been-
for doing that. I think it'll be much better, a good product. Marion?
Well, I'm very, very, very happy to announce that we have an ambulance on Kiwa Island now. It's taken a year, but it was a year's worth of effort where Stephanie helped us, and then I don't know what happened. Craig came on board and we got the
I
ambulance.
know. We
It's
needed
just
that.
like, you know, I have a pen pal, Mr. Sonkin, who has been corresponding every month for a year to find out when this is going to happen. So I can't wait to write to him. But we're really pleased. This will be right on Kiwa Island, and it'll help with any emergency responses that are given. And
They're
I
at
think at
Station
some
6.
point we should let everyone know.
That's wonderful.
And they're housed at Station 6.
6 right now, but it will be moving around because it has
Which is 6.
the one on the hill, the one near the ocean course.
Governors.
Yeah. The
That's
second,
wonderful. And to all
Yeah,
your efforts,
I'm-
thank you.
I'm very excited. I can now resign. No. Okay, the second thing I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to re-mention it, is Grayson Oaks. Grayson Oaks is property that has 95 acres to it near Main Road and Humbert Road, which is across from Berkeley Electric. The county wants to acquire this land to do, take care of debris, mulching and/or burning site, to move dirt and stage DOT equipment. There's potential there for smoke and air quality hazards, which the Johns Islanders are all, ourselves included, are all very concerned about. And they're also concerned that the location of this will decrease property values and increase traffic. In Johns Island, there are actually 170, on Johns Island, there are actually 170 dirt roads. So those roads would get their dirt from this site. Now, that wouldn't be an everyday occasion, but it would be frequently. So because it would increase traffic and there is a sand pit near this location that could be used, I wanted to ask the council and mayor if you would support writing a letter to the county to say that we do not support this effort. Our council representative, Honeycutt, and our other council, the council Anna Johnson, who actually has all of Johns Island, is against this acquisition. So I think it's time for us to support other Johns Islanders. We've been working with them on the roads, and it's time for us to do something that shows we support not only our Kiwa residents, but also the Johns Island people.
Do we have the specifics on this?
No.
Has something been published that says, all I've read is what, that one, that came from Johns Island Task Force, or I forget who it came from, but
Yeah, I'm with the mayor. I'd like to have more specific information about how often it's going to be used, what exactly the level of use will be, what's going into it, what are the projected long-term consequences.
I think we all agree with you, Marianne. It just sounds horrible.
It sounds horrible, but I want both sides of the story.
Some of the stuff how much burning are they going to do?
So the county is going through their due diligence now, so I don't think they have all of the technical pieces of what actually, amount of trucks, that kind of thing that will have some impact. I guess community uproar was in place because there was no sort of community input on the front end. And so this was the county just looking for a site without community input. So I don't have any, I can grab the information that was presented at county council meeting on the February Public Works Committee. But as far as the due diligence report, I know that they're still evaluating that.
Well, I thought that's how I understood it. How can you oppose a due diligence? Well, I guess you can't oppose a due diligence, obviously. I mean, but I thought that's all the county was asking for, was that they were going to do a due diligence, and that memo seemed to think, don't even do that.
So they're requesting to see if this site would be a viable option for this consideration.
Okay.
So it's in that due diligence process.
So we can wait for that information. But
I mean, tonight, I don't know what will come out of the agenda item tonight. It's on the agenda tonight, so I don't know what will come out of that agenda item tonight, whether.
Because I think our effectiveness is that when we're able to marshal the entire community behind us, so we write a letter and we marshal the community, and
Right.
but I don't disagree, but it's just I'm uncomfortable that wouldn't know how even to respond if somebody would ask us the same questions we're asking, and we wouldn't know. It seems
there are community members that have registered complaints about this.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I think we need to learn. I'm concerned. I'd like to know as much as we can about what's going to be done there, what's the likelihood of burn, what's the traffic going to look like. Not in the greatest detail, but let's get some details.
Sure.
It's one of those things, nobody wants it in their backyard, but let's figure out what it is.
Okay, is that fair enough?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Anything else, Marianne?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Scott?
I'm good.
Dan?
The only thing I would mention that I think is of use to all of us is John Taylor, our planner, has worked with the county staff to learn more about the time frame on the roads, which we're all concerned with. And we think we know that there's likely to be a public hearing, a public meeting in April, early April probably, date to be announced by the county, and that several changes are going to be made to their options relative to what to do about the roads in segment C. So we got to keep our eyes and ears open for an announcement from the county on what's the next step. Meanwhile, we continue to learn as much as we can, but obviously the thing's back on a track now, and it's been delayed for some time because of COVID and other issues, but it's on track. So we need to pay attention, which John is doing, being helpful to us on that. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. Alex, your suggestion about a task force,
I
you know,
was-
we got,
I was gonna,
Oh, I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna address that, I forgot to.
which?
Alex's question.
Oh, go ahead.
It's just a suggestion, because when Alex had brought that up, I was just gonna suggest, Mayor, that instead of creating a task force, I would recommend that we have a public safety committee, that I was going to talk with Craig to have Craig put this before the public safety committee this month to look at maybe some short-term solutions that we might be able to do.
That's what I was going to say.
Tag, you're it.
Yeah, I had that marked as my town administrator report and I forgot. Sorry.
I think we've got good
Good.
people that understand the gravity of this.
That's right.
I just want to, I forgot to mention it earlier, Stephanie reminded me, the application for the miniature golf next door to us, we did enter into negotiations, we did make an offer, it was not accepted. If anybody's interested, the property surrounding that, you know, our adjacent 4 neighbors, that property's all been sold. And it's been sold to a developer from Charleston. A. B, the property a little bit further up has been sold. It's been sold to group out of Florida, I think. So we entered into the discussions with these immediate, they're local. I think the one individual who we know, who we had been talking to, was very willing to sell it to us, understanding that we were going to just leave it as is and hopefully renovate the schoolhouse. But I think his partner has visions, seeing all of the development that's taken place in a relatively short period of time. And his partner overruled this fellow, so no deal. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I mean, at this particular point, it's zoned R4. R4. But the combination of all of those properties, I mean, if it's who I think bought it, I think it is, you know, they got now that much more land and whatever the arrangements are with the medical group. So it would all have to go through the county, and I don't know what the backlog is with the county even to do projects, but my understanding is it's quite long. So
Right.
we'll just have to wait and see. But we do not have the property, unfortunately. Citizens' comments. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Mark Primar, 81 Dungannon Hall, but it's really a question on behalf of Kiwa Partners. We appreciate the advanced thinking, especially the way of thinking about the traffic study, because you can never think out far enough, to be honest with you. And traffic is usually one of the litmus tests about other issues anyway, so it's really good to use that. Is it possible to get a copy of the study that was presented in the public with the key assumptions and the math on it?
Sure.
Yeah, you can get with
John?
John.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
absolutely.
that's all.
Pardon? Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Moved.
We're adjourned.
Second.
Oh, I guess not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brad, I got wanted to speak, but he didn't
Oh,
speak
I'm
up
sorry.
loud enough. No. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Communicate.
Hey, listen, have a nice vacation.
What was it Jack Welch so famously said? Just about the time I'm tired of saying it, it's just about time you're